Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was so much fun that when it ended, I said, "Wait, no, I'm not done." I wanted to see more. I was really enjoying it. Do I think it's a movie for everybody? No. But a movie for me was pretty great. Let me explain. In this DreamWorks animated feature, it is DreamWorksy at its best, really. Now, DreamWorks used to have an issue where they were incredibly forgettable because they cared more about the famous actors they hired versus a good story. But they have steadily improved to actually caring about story and characters. And even from the beginning, their CG animation was always really good, but it just gets more impressive and interesting as we go along. And yes, Puss in Boots, yeah, is another fine example of how they are improving. They really are. It's funny that this is one of its great improvements, and it's calling back to its very first film, a film that it has never been able to top and probably never will, Shrek. Now, Shrek is a classic, not just in animation, but in films in general, because it was a cartoon made for adults. This movie, it has definitely a lot of elements that I think adults can appreciate, that I, as an adult, I think appreciate better than if I were a kid. But there is a lot of silliness that I think is easier for kids to swallow. I mentioned Shrek, not because Puss in Boots can't stand on his own, he really can, and so can all the other fairy tale creatures in this movie, but it keeps wanting us to remember Shrek. So I'm worried that there's going to be a Shrek 5. And I don't love that because Shrek, like 3 and 4 were so bad. So bad. So I'm good with not seeing Shrek anymore. Okay, if there was going to be a spin-off of the Goldilockses and the Three Bears from this movie, I would actually enjoy that very much. But no. Yeah, it's just, I think this fairy tale universe that DreamWorks has created is more than Shrek. Am I curious to know what's going on with Shrek? Sure, mostly I want to see if his kids are going to go on their own adventures. Like, his daughter is an ogre princess, so what will she get up to? What will her ogre brothers who are princes get up to? Oh, there can be a lot with that. There really can be. I'm curious about Shrek's kids, not really Shrek. And yeah, I just watched an Eddie Murphy movie, and yeah, that man deserves to have work. He's so charming. Anyway, the Puss in Boots movie, and what I liked about it and what I found a little difficult. What I loved was the animation. It is a crazy mixture of 2D and CG, and my god, every other scene was absolutely stunning, totally gorgeous texturing. The color palettes were amazing. Just, you could say it's almost overwhelming, but I could not get enough of it. I really wish that I could just pause this movie and just stare at it. I think I'm gonna get the art book. And there was a thing where at some points the frame rate shifted, which I found a little jarring personally. I get that they were trying to make time a little different to say, oh yeah, the giant, he works in different ways. He's a magical creature that's more earthbound, so he's not totally the same as the other creatures who are pacing at a normal, comfortable rate. So yeah, that was a little tricky. And this movie goes really fast in pace. It goes really fast. Sometimes you can't even really tell what's going on unless you really pay attention hard. So I don't know. I think a lot of the dialogue is going to go past adults and very young children. So somewhere's in the middle, I think you can enjoy it. Yeah. But it's definitely a movie you want to watch again because so much happens so quickly that you need to take a minute to really see it, to really soak it in. And yet, despite its incredibly fast pace, there is a lot to soak in. There are a lot of really cool characters in this movie. We have our Antonio Banderas Puss in Boots, the wannabe Zorro, and a tiny little Tabby. Now, Puss is a lovely character. He is. And I love cats, so I was happy to see all that cat animation. I was. He's a perfectly fine lead, but he's honestly my least favorite character of this movie. He's still very good. His story is still very interesting. But not as interesting as all the characters that are around him. We have Kitty Softpaws. She returns, and spoilers, yeah. Puss stood her up at the altar, so she's a little pissed at him. But yeah, they're bickering. Their chemistry is really, really, really good. It was really delightful. Let's see. Puss has a new friend, and yeah, this little dog is the donkey to push a Shrek. And I mean that very fondly, I do. The dog was very, very kind natured and sweet. He had a very sad orphan story, but he's still totally content. It actually reminded me of a fairy tale I once saw in an anime where a young fool gives everything away. Like, he even allows himself to be eaten by a demon, but still he's grateful when the demon says thank you. Yeah, it's insane, but God, to be so content would be so nice. Yeah, that's kind of the main theme of this movie. How content are you? Like, what do you really need to be happy with? Puss has led a really interesting, amazing adventure because he just has this say yes attitude, but maybe he's not a little too fast with it, and in his old age, he's reflecting to, change up his priorities. And that little dog is kind of becoming his therapy dog because Puss is scared of dying. And I just find it really sweet. And it reminds people what you love about your pets, your cats and your dogs. They are comfort. And it was just really sweet and done really well. Some people can find it cheesy, but I just think it was done lovely. Though I do think that little doggy, Piero, I think his name was. Yeah, he has worms. That's the only reason to explain how his belly is so round. It grossed me out. Though I still thought he was a nice little dog, and I hope people learn to love mutts. But my absolute favorite characters of this movie were Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I loved their family dynamic, okay? They are a wannabe crime family. And yeah, they make the bears terrifying. Like, this movie goes hard with making the bears and the action scenes really scary, and I loved that. Yeah. But what's wonderful is even though they're big, terrifying, like 500-pound bears, they're also just adorable, goofy little, like, Mama Bear and Papa Bear with their little manners. They have the most British little accents. It's just, they're really cute. And they love Goldilocks. And Goldilocks is just so incredibly comfortable with them. She's kind of like a pixie pirate sort of character. But yeah, the way she bickers with Baby Bear, and then when Baby Bear's like, she's not my sister. She's like, she is your sister. Listen to her. Oh, like, her action scenes are really, really good. I love how she just, like, rolls around them, and, like, she doesn't treat them like pets. Not really. She just, like, she acts like a bear with them. Now, here's another spoiler. Her story is that she wants human family, and I'm like, that's the really heartbreaking thing. Not Puss questioning his mortality, but Goldilocks not being grateful for her family. Goldie, if you want more human friends in your life, if you want to, talk human stuff, that's totally fine, but don't throw away your bear family. They love you, and they're adorable, and you love them, and yeah, they just work really well together. It's really, really sweet. I love when Goldilocks is like, Mama, please. It's just so cute. Papa just wants to hibernate. Yeah. So yeah, their family dynamic was adorable. I would watch a whole movie about them. I would. I want to see how they do things. I want to see more of them. Little Jack Horner. I honestly do not remember that fairy tale, and I like that the movie explains it and makes it off. And yeah. John Mulaney plays his character, and his ugly voice is so well matched for the ugly spirit of this character. And it also brings me to this place where, unlike the original Shrek movie where they all looked pretty human but cartoon, it wasn't Uncanny Valley to me. I thought it was like a nice blend of, I don't know, like almost photoshopped but pleasantly, if that makes sense. Yeah, in this one they are all Disney-fied with their faces, and it's a little strange, and it just makes it feel like a completely different cartoon universe. But it pulls it off really well. Anyway, Big Jack Horner is an example of even more ungrateful person. Like, maybe the most ungrateful human man there could be. Okay, he's wealthy, he had a loving family, And he's a big nerd for magical artifacts, but he just wants to take them. He's just greedy. He's just this rich dude that likes to collect trophies of unicorn horns, baby unicorn horns. Yeah, he makes a great villain. I love that it makes it very clear that he is irredeemable. Like, there are some people who are so rich and privileged that they have no, like, sympathy or empathy for anybody and just take advantage. Like, he's a really bad boss. Again, this movie goes to really dark levels that I appreciate. And yeah, Big Jack Horner is a very bad boss. So yeah, I love the whole simple evil bad guy that you cannot root for. I love that. It seems sad and hollow, but sometimes it's just fun to root against somebody. God, maybe that's why politics are so divided. It's mature, but in a movie, I can appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, and the big bad wolf in this movie is stunning. He's all these like whites and blacks and grays, but his eyes are bright red and they're open the whole time. He just looks so focused, maybe a little over caffeinated, but he's awesome. He is. Oh, and here's a little thing. He is the Grim Reaper, which I think is really cool. Like, why should the Grim Reaper be human? No, it's a universe of talking animals. Okay, magical talking animals anthropomorphized, so let it be the wolf, the one animal we can all fear. I respect wolves for their beauty and their majesty, but yeah, they also make him super cool. Instead of one scythe, he has two, and he just wields them really coolly. And I love his monologues about how, I've never been a fan of cats. You guys get 9 lives, 8 more than the average creature. And you, Puss in Boots, have been incredibly irresponsible with them. You offend my work. Life is precious. We should appreciate it. But yeah, it's just, he's so fast, he's so skilled, he's wonderfully creepy. But he doesn't really, yes, death is scary and very terrifying, but there's also a dignity to how he presents it and how you should appreciate life that I really appreciate in this movie. I really do. So yeah, the characters in this movie were all really well done to me. I liked it very much. I want to see this movie again. I just saw it last night, and I want to see it again because I enjoyed it that hard. Oh, God. I worry about showing it to other people because there are a lot of moments where it thinks it's being funny and it's not that funny, and all the colors are so saturated, they kind of like punch you in the face. I love the texturing. I look at it and see all the texturing that I have not seen in like a forest setting since, I don't know, Disney's like Sleeping Beauty. It's that pretty. It is lovely. If this is the DreamWorks setting, I mean, this and the bad guys with this mixture of the CG and 2D, it is beautiful, and I hope they keep going. I loved it. I loved the animation in this movie, and I loved the characters very much. Now, story-wise, it's a pretty good one. Yeah, like the characters go into this dark forest that is just incredibly magical. It has this map that, oddly enough, creates whoever's ever holding its worst fears or what I think they deep down really want to travel by. Like Puss and Kitty are all adventurous, so they want something really challenging to mess them up. Maybe somebody else to ask questions they want to talk about. Whereas the doggy, he's totally content. He literally just wants to stop and smell roses. Yeah. I love that. I love thinking that when this movie was being developed, there were a bunch of people in the background saying, we can't decide how we want this forest to be, so we're just going to put all of our ideas into it. We're just going to do so much into it. And I think it's done really beautifully. I think that the way it's melded and how the magic is approached, it makes sense, and it's just all over the place. It is a blast. It is amazing. So yeah, I liked the story of it. I liked how our bad guy just keeps getting worse, and yeah. The voice acting from everybody is really good. Again, there are moments that are not that funny, but then there are moments that are very funny because they are quick and they are very character driven. Like, oh my goodness, the cat lady. God, I embrace crazy cat ladies because I see myself being one in 5 years. So, yeah. This one, she was just so coddling to all the kitties, and I just found it very, very cute. I did. I just thought, oh, so cute. I really enjoyed this movie. Again, big spoiler. At the end, we see them going to far, far away, and it's like, oh God, I don't know if I really want to see Shrek again. I want to go past Shrek. It's like I'm tired of all the reboots. I want to see what goes beyond then. I really do. If it's more about Shrek's kids than Shrek, then that's progress. Okay, I want to go past. I want to go forward instead of like just rebooting the past. That is my personal wish, and I hope it happens. Now, it took 10 years, like, in between the first Puss in Boots movie and this one, but I'm fine with that because the wait was worth it. Like, this is a much better movie than I was expecting it to be. So, Puss in Boots The Last Wish, I think you are a gem for animation fans. I think kids will definitely like you because you are so colorful and zany. I think some adults will be bored with it because it's so adorably designed. And some might not have the patience for, like, the crazy zaniness. Or some adults who are like me will love the darkness of it and get rewards from the characters reaching their, development. I think it's an interesting movie, and I hope DreamWorks is more like this. DreamWorks' new thing is let's go zany, but let's do it well. And they're doing that really, really well. So, yeah, I can't wait to see this movie again. I really can't.